Hi, I'm focusing on The Matrix and the breakthrough technique that made it unforgettable bullet time. This effect changed the look of action cinema, and I'll explain how and why it became so influential. All right, so this gives us a quick snapshot of the film's essential details: who made it, who starred in it, how it performed. And what stands out is how a mid range budget, in Hollywood terms, turned into a massive worldwide success. These numbers help show just how strongly audiences connected with The Matrix right from the start. Before getting deeper into the film's impact, though, it's helpful to have a brief sense of the story. So, The Matrix presents a world built on false consciousness. People believe they're living normal lives, but they're actually trapped inside a simulated reality. Neo, the main character, his awakening to the real world becomes, as our textbook cinema scene puts it, a revealing look at a culture of consumption and no deeper values. The red pill and blue pill choice became a major cultural symbol, representing this decision between staying in illusion or confronting the truth. The film also draws on surrealism and on the style of Chinese martial arts movies, especially in the way characters can move through space really in impossible ways. And that is where bullet time comes in. That is the stop motion, high speed camera technique that filmmakers manipulate time and space and suspend action in midair. Chapter 27 of our textbook explains that the late 1990s and early 2000s marked a major shift toward technological filmmaking. So movies like Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park, they introduced new CGI or computer generated images, techniques, and digital effects that changed how action and science fiction films were made. The chapter also highlights how Toy Story became the first fully digital animated feature, showing how computer animation was reshaping production. Films such as Phantom Menace blended real actors with virtual environments and digital robots, really pushing action cinema into new territory. The chapter also describes how filmmakers experimented with new camera technologies, including the stop motion high speed systems that made bullet time possible. The Matrix is presented as a key example of this era, using digital tools to manipulate time and space in ways audience had never seen before. So The Matrix pulls together a mix of genres: science fiction, cyberpunk, action, and martial arts films. And that blend is a big part of why it stands out. The world of the movie fits the usual cyberpunk setup with its dystopian setting and questions about what's real. But the action scenes are built around martial arts, choreography, and wire work. Christensen points out that the Matrix use of bullet time instantly became iconic for action camera, which shows how the film didn't just follow action movie conventions, but actually changed them. He also says bullet time is a way of making movement felt. And that fits with how the movie leans into stylized fights and heightened perception. So even though the film mixes several genres, it also pushes those genres forward in a way that became really influential. The Matrix is important because it made a huge impact right away, not just with audiences, but also with scholars and critics. Demetrius Gescu points out that right after the film came out, several books and essay collections were published that analyzed the movie through philosophy, religion, and questions about reality. That kind of response shows how quickly the film became part of a bigger cultural conversation. Early critics also described it as having a breathless pace and astonishing eye candy, which helps explain why it's considered such an influential film. It shaped the look and feel of early 2000s sci-fi and action movies. And even though I'll go into the technology later, Christensen notes that the Matrix use of bullet time instantly became iconic for action cinema. All of that together is why the film stands out as important. Matrix is well made because it brings together big ideas and strong visual storytelling in a way that feels completely natural. Dimitrescu describes it as a film with a special philosophical load, and the movie weaves those ideas into the plot without ever losing clarity. Moments like the deja vu black cat or the red pill choice aren't just cool scenes, they push the audience to think about reality and perception, which is central to what the film is doing. Christensen also points out how iconic the action became, and that really shows how well the movie balances its themes with emotional and action driven moments instead of letting one overwhelm the other. Dimitrescu highlights the film's neo-Gothic dystopian aesthetic, and that look makes the contrast between the real world and the simulated one feel sharp and meaningful. The visual effects work the same way. They support the story instead of taking it over, which is why the action feels so controlled and intentional. Altogether, the film's style, fast pace, and clarity come together in a way that makes the Matrix not just impressive, but genuinely powerful to watch. Okay, so this slide focuses on how the Matrix advanced filmmaking through new digital and camera techniques. Bullet time is the best example. Again, as Christensen described it, instantly iconic for action cinema. And it really did introduce a completely new way to visualize movement and perspective. The image on this slide shows the actual bullet time setup. You can see the semicircle of still cameras arranged around the actors, each one firing in sequence. That setup let the filmmakers freeze a moment, swing the camera through space, and then drop back into real time motion. It's paired with wire work, which allowed the actors to hang, twist, and move in ways that would be impossible otherwise. When you see the behind the scenes rig, it becomes clear how the film blended practical stunts with digital effects to create something audience had not experienced before. One of the most striking things about The Matrix is just how visually powerful and genuinely fun it is to watch. It delivers action scenes. Again, as Christensen describes, I keep coming back to instantly iconic. There's no better way to describe it, really. And those moments give the film an energy that pulls viewers in right away. Dimitrescu describes the film's neo Gothic dystopian aesthetic, and that look plays into a major role in how the world of the film feels to viewers. The style supports the movie's themes and helps make the setting feel distinct. Christensen also points out how memorable the film's action moments became, which shows how strongly they resonated with audiences. These scenes aren't just technically impressive, and they are, they're part of what makes the film engaging and enjoyable. And Ebert called the film visually dazzling and great looking, which reflects how well the aesthetic landed with critics. It's that combination of a bold visual identity, unforgettable action, and a style critics immediately recognize that makes the film such a rewarding experience to watch, even now. As I already noted, Christensen described the bullet time as instantly iconic for action cinema. I keep repeating it, but honestly, that's the perfect way to explain how fast this technique took off after The Matrix. Once people saw it, filmmakers jumped on it. Not necessarily in a copycat kind of way, but in a we have to play with this too kind of way. You see it pop up in movies like Charlie's Angels and Equilibrium, both leaning into that same suspended motion, dynamic camera style that The Matrix made famous. And then there's Shrek, which doesn't just use the effect, it winks at the audience with a parody of it. That's when you know a technique has really landed, when even an animated comedy is giving it a nod. Christensen makes it clear that bullet time didn't just look cool. It changed what audience expected from action scenes. It set a new bar. And because it became such a signature part of the franchise, people naturally looked for it in the later films. Bullet time wasn't just a moment, it became part of the movie's identity and a huge influence on action cinema going forward. These are the sources that informed my presentation. They include the course textbook, two scholarly articles, Roger Ebert's review, financial data from Box Office Mojo, and additional film information from Fandom. So, in the end, what really stands out about The Matrix is how intentionally everything works together: the ideas, the visuals, and the technology to create a film that still feels bold and original. And honestly, that's part of why I keep coming back to it. No matter how many times I watch it, it never feels outdated. It still looks sharp and it still pulls me in.